Hello everyone, my name is Bradley Scott and I am with Wildfire and Earth, Reiki, Shamanism, and Intuitive Healing. I get asked so many times, and I did a video on this the other day about what Reiki is, how I got into Reiki healing, but I wanted to talk a little bit about why I do what I do. Over this past week, I have over 4,000 friends on Facebook. And so I see a lot of daily lives. I see a lot of what's happening in people's lives with their comments and with what they're posting. And as an intuit and as an empath, seeing people struggling in this society is so difficult to watch because people are crying out for help. There is so much going on in the media and the politics. There's war and rumors of war. There's plagues. There's viruses. There's school shootings. There's all of this hatred going on in this world right now. That is literally a war for your heart. And so many people are losing that battle right now. When I was at JBU, going to school to become a worship minister. I'm an ordained minister, so I can officiate weddings and do all that stuff. But I think the most important part of being a minister is being able to speak to people's hearts and saying, you know what, the world outside, the media, what they want you to see, Fox News, what Trump is doing, what North Korea is doing, what all of this stuff, this dramatic stuff is doing to you does not define you. It doesn't make you any less. You deserve to take up space. And I learned that at JBU, that all truth is God's truth, that everything that happens to you is intrinsically good for your life to learn lessons so that you can grow and become. And while I was at JBU, doing worship ministries and singing and acting and learning all of these excellent tools to minister to people, I became a counselor at a suicide prevention hotline. And I would literally take calls from teenagers, adults, people of all walks of life that had just had enough, that just couldn't do it anymore. And that line of work is so personal to me, so much a part of who I am, because when I was a teenager, I struggled. I struggled a lot with my family's secrets, with growing up in a small, very Christian-oriented town that only had so many archetypes that you could be, and I didn't fit any of those molds. I didn't feel like I belonged. So I literally threatened suicide and attempted it a couple of times whenever I was younger. And it was very, very difficult. And I wish someone would have told me, you have a right to be here. You have a right to take up space. You have a right to live, and you have a right to live however you want. And even if it means differently from what you know, from what you are. Because just because someone doesn't do it in your hometown, just because someone isn't acting the way you act or talking the way you talk or believing the way you believe, it doesn't mean that you don't have a right to be here. And so I was talking to these people, and it all boiled down to one single thing. Every single person that wants to commit suicide is tired of living a lie. They are tired of acting. They are tired of trying to play a part. They are tired of trying to fit into their family's expectations, into societal expectations, their partner's expectations, their job's expectations. We literally put on masks and we fake who we are. We don't allow our real self to come out because we're afraid that if we let our real selves come out, this real self This right here, I'm a shaman. I'm a freaking psychic. If you want people to judge you on your beliefs, tell them you can see the future. That will open a can of worms like you would not believe. If you want to be ridiculed, say you're gay in a small southern Bible Belt town, and literally the next town over, which is really where I kind of grew up, Siloam Springs, is literally in the Guinness Book of World Records for the most churches per capita. There are so many people looking for answers and so many different answers out there that you can't pick a one. So everything is screaming at you to be this, do this, change that. You don't have to. You already know who you are right here. I knew who I was at a very young age. I knew I was going to be a healer. I knew my voice was important. So I did what I could in that community. That meant I became a worship minister. And so that meant I helped people when I didn't have help. I was able to talk to these people literally with a gun in their hands or a knife or about to take pills. That is the beauty. I was able to say, you don't have to take this step. Before you stop living or before you just totally change your life and ruin the lives of the people around you, because suicide is a huge ripple effect. And it's all of our faults if someone commits suicide. We're in this together. It takes a village to raise people. It has literally taken a village to raise me. My family is huge. And so, and my friend network and everything else. Some people don't have that. They don't have that solidarity. And you know what? I might not know who I am 100%. I am different every day, and that is beautiful, and it's changing and it's transitioning. But I found the one single thing that can help people that are on the edge, that are teetering, that have given up. Stop faking it. Live your life. Because you know what? You're not tired of living. You're tired of living other people's life. You're tired of trying to stand up to their expectations. Have you not read any of those old classics like Pride and Prejudice and all of those good books that tell you be yourself? There's a reason they tell you that as a kid. They shouldn't tell you can be anything you want to be, because I don't think that is true. You cannot be anything that you want to be. Sometimes you're just not good at it. But you can be yourself. And that means that the possibilities are endless for what you can do if you are truly living your truth. Because whenever you decide to let go of the life that everybody has told you to do, that's when you can truly start living. When you've reached that period, when you're ready to take it all and life has no meaning, fantastic. That means you don't have to play the game anymore. You don't have to live up to their expectations, and you can do whatever the heck you want, which means you can leave that shutout town. You can get out here and experience the world. Before you decide to take your life, change it. Just have courage enough to do something that brings you passion. Go back to whenever you were a little kid. What made you happy? Was it singing? Was it art? Was it dancing? All of those things. Do them again and see if they can give you some meaning. Because that is the point of life, is finding meaning in all of this muck and mire. Somewhere in there is a nugget that is going to fill that void that is inside your heart. Somewhere. My void is healing others. That is what is so beautiful and profound about being a healer, is that I healed myself. I literally had others carry me out of darkness when I was in pain after a year, after coming out of 12 years of emotional and physical abuse. I needed other people to carry me. It was very dangerous. I could have hurt myself. I had a literal breakdown. And you know what? It's okay to break down. It's okay to admit, I can't do this right now. I can't do this anymore. Because that is the most beautiful and profound thing you can possibly say, is I can't do this anymore. That's wonderful, because when you stop and you get an outside perspective on who you are and why you're feeling those things, it's because you were living a lie. Not to others, but to yourself. You were trying to fit into the molds that they wanted you to fit into. And guess what? You are a square peg in a round hole, and it's not working. You have to find the square peg so that you can fit in there. So what does that mean? How do you do that? Live. That's it. Chase your dreams. Those dreams that people told you to give up on. Those dreams are important because they are your spark. They are your soul's purpose. Dreams tell you how you want to live, how you can fulfill this life that you have been given. And I say this about suicide because I didn't know this when I was growing up, but literally almost every religion in the world says no on suicide, literally. And I've even come up with this in my own practice of being an intuitive medium. When I speak to people who have crossed over into the other world, they've passed away from this reality into the next one, they tell me if I died too young or if I took my own life, I have to come back and redo this life. Do you get that? Do you want to do that? Do you want to rehash everything that you've learned? No. Life is like a lesson. Life is like a school. You're supposed to take the lessons and implement them and put them into practice. But once you've learned the lesson, move on. You don't stay in the same grade. You don't have to stay in that situation. You don't have to stay in that relationship. You don't have to stay in that job. You learned, move on. Because now you have tools and knowledge that is going to help you on the next step of your journey. And it's a whole new classroom. And for those of you that didn't like school, I'm sorry. There's a reason we had school. First of all, a lot of it was to program us for the 9-to-5 day. But a lot of it, there are hidden truths. Like I said, all truth is God's truth. There's even a hidden truth in that programming that you will learn lessons and you will continually learn lessons. Because once you think you have mastered something, that is when you truly do not understand it. Because what you don't know is the biggest part of what you know. And sitting with that and sitting with I don't know is a beautiful thing to understand and embrace, and realize that we're all pursuing happiness. And it even says that in our Constitution, that we are given the right of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Number one, that means you have a right to live. And no one can take that right away, even yourself. You have a right to liberty, which means you have freedoms to pursue your happiness. So you are allowed to pursue happiness. You can do this. I've just been scrolling through my social media and Facebook, and I keep seeing so many people saying, this is it, I can't take it anymore, whatever, fuck it, I give up, I can't do this, I'm going to take my own life. I have literally seen 16 people out of my Facebook friends who are suicidal, and people keep posting messages about mental health and all this other stuff. There are different answers out there than the ones you are finding. Suicide is not the answer. Please take the time to get help. I'm going to post a link down below. Talk to somebody. If you don't have courage to talk to these people, talk to me. I will help you. A year ago, I was stuck in an abusive relationship. I thought I was less than. I thought I wasn't worthy. But it wasn't until my life was on the line when I realized I am worth fighting for, and so are you. So fight for that joy. Stop trying to fight for fitting in. Stop trying to fight for their choices. Fight for your choices. Find fulfillment. Fulfillment means being comfortable in who you are. And I can guarantee you, you don't know who you are right now. Find it. Find that path. Find that passion that makes you change the world. Because once you have fought this demon, this darkness that is surrounding your life, you will be walking down a path of light that I can promise you will never stop shining. The world will look completely different whenever you start living for yourself instead of others. Maybe it's time that you were held instead of you always holding everybody else. Maybe it's time you were fought for instead of fighting for everybody else. If that's all your friends do is you have to fight for them, and then whenever you need them, they turn their back on you, those aren't your friends. I can guarantee you, when you start living for you, when you start just going to the beach and surfing because that's what you want to do with your life, whenever you start doing a podcast, when you start doing videos, when you start writing a book, when you start living instead of working and chasing after this goal and chasing after this, when you start living and just doing it, you will find people that will fight for you and remind you that you are precious and you are worth it. And I'm that person. I believe in you. I don't even know you, and I believe in you. You know why? Because people believed in me, and they didn't have to. And now I'm surrounded by people that believe in me and care about me and want me to do well. That is a beautiful thing. Because sometimes I needed people to be there for me. And right now, I'm being there for you. I love you, and I want the best in all the world for you. Stop living for everybody else's expectations and figure out how you want to live life. Because you know what? From this point forward, instead of killing yourself, instead of ending your life, I want you to say that old life is over. I get a chance for a new life. Do it now. I don't want you to have to come back and do it again, because that will suck. I mean, that would be awful to have to do it over again. Don't. Take this opportunity to change. Take this opportunity to say what? You know what? I'm done with that life. It's time for a new one. Rewrite your story. Your story is important. And you know what? Once you start a new life, you'll look back and all those lessons you learned from that life were perfect for what is coming up next. Because you might be in the position to stand here and talk to someone else who is giving up. And you may inspire the person who's going to get us to Mars. You might inspire the next president. You might be the person that changes the course of history. You could be, but you'll never know until you try. So please try and know that there are angels surrounding you. You are protected by more prayer and care and love than you even realize. Do something for me. Maya Angelou, a beautiful woman who was raped when she was a little girl, impregnated by her stepfather, beaten, almost killed to death, grew up to be a beautiful, wise woman, an author, a speaker, and a world shaker. She literally talked to the Obamas during their office. She got invited to the White House. She didn't let that darkness drag her down. She told people, they were like, how do you do this? How can you go through such horrible things, and survive and be resilient? She said, do you know what I do? When I'm talking to people like you, when I'm doing an interview, whenever I'm doing a speech, when I'm writing a book, I remember all of the people who have been kind to me. It's a mental thing. Don't focus on the negativity. Don't focus on the bad stuff that happened. Focus on the love. Focus on the kindness. That's where it's at. That's where your power is. Right now, you're focusing on a lot of negativity. I want you to focus on kindness. Find one thing, one person, one act And if you start doing that, you're going to realize there's been a lot, especially if you've lived a life over the age of 5. A lot of people have been kind to you when they didn't have to. So stop and ask those people, I need you right now. Come with me. I can't do this on my own. I need your kindness again. And they will be there for you. And you will feel like you have a crowd backing you up. And they will follow you. And they will be your biggest cheerleaders. Remember the things that people have told you about how good you are at this art, or how good you are at singing, or how good you are at being a mechanic, or how good you are at doing whatever. Remember those moments and cherish them, because that is your ballywick. That is where you stick. That is where you need to be. Just listen to words of kindness. Don't listen to this darkness that is plaguing you and hurting you. And I've seen such a huge influx of people when I see these comments on people's pages of I'm gonna end it. They say, oh, get over yourself. You just want attention. You're just, do it already. It just shocks me, the anger and shame that goes along with this subject. Because you know what? The people that are angry like that and tell you you're just trying to get attention and get over it are probably suffering with the same thing. They're probably hurting. They're probably crying out for attention too. Because what people say and what people do is a reflection of them, not a reflection of you. You're just triggering their shame. So I want you to realize that you need to be vulnerable and say, I can't do this and I need help. That's what you have to be able to say. And listen, and find people that will listen. Find someone that will listen and help you through this journey, because you can't do it on your own. You can, but it's very difficult, and it's better with others that will help you and love you. And it's bad that we do this victim shaming, where if you're a victim of rape, if you're a victim of something, of sexual assault, if you're a victim of prejudice or bigotry or racism, we shame the victim and we're like, don't talk about that, because we don't want to hear it. We try to turn our heads away from the dark parts of life, but sometimes you have to bring the light into those dark parts to really actually go through them and understand them and realize compassion and empathy. The world is a hard place, but dare to be soft in a hard world. Dare to be. Just dare to be. It's beautiful, I promise you. Choose your life. Choose to live for you. Don't live for anybody else. It doesn't matter what your parents say. It doesn't matter what your friends say. It doesn't matter what anybody on the internet says. It's a pile of garbage there anyways. You matter. You matter beyond any shadow of a doubt. You are special, and you are precious, and you are one of a kind. So learn how to be you. Stop living for everybody else. It's not worth it. It's exhausting. I did it for 21 years, and it almost killed me. Live your truth. The moment you realize that you are more important than a job or a relationship or a facade is the moment that you're free. That's what you're really wanting. Freedom. You're wanting to end it all so you can be free. Let go of those expectations. You don't have to live up to those. You only have to live for you. So find freedom, because I promise you that's what you want. I'm going to put some links down below. If you need to speak to me on my Facebook page, please do. I've created a new Facebook called Wildfire and Earth. You can also find me under Bradley Scott on Facebook. Message me, talk to me. I'm here for you. If you don't feel like talking to me, please talk to someone, a friend, a loved one, or there's some links down below for sites you can call, toll-free numbers that you can call, or there's even an app that you can text. If you just prefer texting, I'll send that to you today. Don't give up. Find freedom, but suicide isn't the answer. I promise you. It's worth the risk to live. Do it for you.